Tapos tayo kanina on the Sustainable Development Goals. Ayan. So doon sa integration. Ayan. So when we say integration nga, interconnected yung 17 development goals natin. So sabi nga, we cannot aim to achieve just one goal. Ayan. Kailangan daw ma-achieve natin lahat yung mga goal natin na inilatag na 17 development goals. Okay? Ayusin ko lang po yung ating screen. Ayan. Ayan. So another, medyo naghahang lang. Ayan. So consider din na ang Sustainable Development Goals is transformation. And it is widely recognized that achieving these goals involving making very big fundamental changes in how we live on Earth. And this is called transformation. And so ang pinakang goal natin on the SDG is to transform yung ating society, and as well as yung ating pati yung ating environment. Ayan. So here are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So makikita natin. So number 1 is no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. Number 3, the good health and well-being. Number 4, to have a quality education. And then number 5, gender equality. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Number 7, affordable and clean energy. Number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Reduce inequalities. And number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Number 13, climate action. Number 14, life below water. Number 15 is life on land. Number 6, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Number 17, partnerships for the goals. Ayan. So kung mapapansin ninyo dun sa ating SDG, so makikita natin meron siyang mga goals when it comes to environment. So talagang nandito rin yung preservation ng ating environmental or natural resources para nga doon sa mga future generations natin. Ayan. Sige. So, tingnan natin, isa-isay natin yung, wait lang. Isa-isay natin yung 17 development goals. Ayan, pag nag-end po itong ating discussion, ay balik ulit kayo kasi parang 6 minutes na lang yun natitira. Ayan. So, for the goal number 1, ayan, ayan. So, yun nga po, yung pinakauna natin is no poverty. And poverty in all its form everywhere. Ayan. So, extreme poverty has been cut by more than half since 1990. Still around 1 in 10 people live on less than the target figure of the international $1.90 per day. So, that's according to UNDP. A very low poverty threshold is justified by highlighting the need of those people who are worse off. SDG number 1 is to end extreme poverty globally by 2030. Ayan. So ito yung pinakang number 1 goal when it comes to SDG. Ayan. So to end extreme poverty globally by 2030. The goal number 2 is the zero hunger. So our main goal is to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. So by 2030, we should end hunger and all forms of malnutrition. And this will be accomplished by doubling agricultural productivity and incomes of small-scale food producers, especially women and indigenous peoples, by ensuring sustainable food production systems and by progressively improving land and soil quality. Ayan. So, more on pag-focus doon sa agricultural productivity para ma-end natin or ma-end natin yung hunger. Ayan. So, more on food production. Ayan. Goal number 3. Ayan. So, yung ating goal number 3, so this is good health and well-being. Ayan. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages. Ayan. So, significant strides have been made in increasing life expectancy and reducing some of the common killers associated with child and maternal mortality. Ayan. So, gusto natin mapababa yung child and maternal mortality. Ayan. So, yung mga dahilan sa pagkamatay ng mga bata at ng mga buntis na nanay. So between 2000 and 2016, the worldwide under 5 mortality rate decreased by 47% and from 78 deaths per 1,000 live births to 41 deaths per 1,000 live births. Still, the number of children dying under age 5 is extremely high. So talagang mataas pa rin yung mga namamatay na under 5. Ayan. So which is 5.6 million in 2016. So that's according to UNESCO. Goal number 4 is the good quality education. Ayan. To ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So major progress has been made in access to education, specifically at the primary school level for both boys and girls. The number of out-of-school children has almost halved from 122 million in 1997 to 60 million in 2014. And so medyo bumaba naman pagdating dito sa mga out-of-school children. So from 112, so naging na lang siyang 60 million. So goal number 5 is the gender equality. So the goal is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Ayan. Providing women and girls with equal access to education, healthcare, decent work, and representation in political and economic decision-making processes will nurture sustainable economies and benefit societies and humanity at large. So that's for goal number 5. Goal number 6 is to have a safe and clean water. Ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So ayan, so pinasukan na dito ng aspects ng environment on how we will preserve yung mga resources natin. The first 3 targets relate to drinking water supply and sanitation worldwide. 6 out of 10 people lack safely managed sanitation services and 3 out of 10 lack safely managed water services. Okay, so that's from UNDP. Number 7 is to have a clean and sustainable energy and ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. So the targets for 2030 includes access to affordable and reliable energy while increasing the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. This would involve improving energy efficiency and enhancing international cooperation to facilitate more open access to clean energy technology and more investment in clean energy infrastructure. For number 8, to have a decent work and economic growth. promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So for the least developed countries, the economic target is to attain at least a 7% annual growth in the GDP. Achieving higher productivity will require diversification and upgraded technology along with innovation and entrepreneurship and the growth of small and medium enterprises. Some targets are for 2030 and others are for 2020. So nabanggit dito yung ating the gross domestic product or the GDP. So when we say GDP, ito yung tinutukoy dito yung mga products na produce within the country. Okay? So mamaya matatakal natin since ito ay part po ng ating indicators of development, itong mga tinatawag nating GDP, GNP, etc. Okay? So for goal number 9, so to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive, safe, resilient industrialization, and foster innovation. So resilience and urban resilience manufacturing is a major source of employment. In 2016, the least developed countries had less manufacturing value added per capita. The figure for Europe and North America amounted to $4,621 compared to $100 in the least developed countries. Number 10 is to reduce inequality within and among countries. So, under goal 10, so nabanggit dito yung target 10.1 to sustain income growth of the bottom 30% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. So this is what we call the shared prosperity in complementing the SDG number 1, to eliminate the hunger, poverty, the eradication of extreme poverty, and it's relevant for all countries in the world. So under target 10.C, to reduce the transaction cost for migrant remittances to below 3%. For number 11, the sustainable cities and communities. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. The target for 2030 is to ensure access to safe and affordable housing. The indicator named to measure progress toward this target is the proportion of urban living in slums or informal settlements. Ayan. So isa sa mga goal din yung magkaroon ng safe and affordable housing. Ayan. Para matanggal yung mga naninirahan sa mga slums and those who are informal settlers. Number 12 is to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Ayan. Sustainable products, the target of goal number 12 include using eco-friendly production methods and reducing the amount of waste. By 2030, national recycling rate should be increased as measured in tons of material recycled. Further, companies should adopt sustainable practices and publish sustainability reports. So kung titingnan natin sa SDG, talagang nandyan din yung focus nila on the environmental sustainability. Kasi nga, itong sustainable development, ang pinopokus talaga natin is to sustain kung anong meron tayo dito sa ating environment. Para may magamit pa rin yung mga future generations natin. Okay? Goal number 13 is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So focus again doon sa ating environment. The UN discussions and negotiations identified the links between post-2015 SDG process and financing development process that concluded in Addis Ababa in July 2015 and the COP21 Climate Change Conference in Paris in December 2015. In May 2015, a report concluded that only a very ambitious climate deal in Paris in 2015 could enable countries to reach the sustainable goals and targets. Another, number 14, is to conserve and sustainability use the oceans, seas, and marine for sustainable development. So another thing for environment, focusing naman doon sa oceans, marine, and seas. The goal of number 14 is to conserve and sustainability use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Effective strategies to mitigate adverse effects of increased ocean acidification are needed to advance the sustainable use of oceans. Another thing with regards to environment is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Sustainability manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. So this articulates targets for preserving biodiversity of forests. So nakapokus naman tayo more on sa forest, desert, mountain ecosystems as percentage of total land mass. Achieving a land degradation neutral world can be reached by restoring degraded forests and land loss to drought and flood. And second to the last is the goal number 16. This is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. So nakasama din sa goal yung pagkakaroon ng peaceful society. Provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institution at all levels. Yan, so the goals number 16 tends to reduce the violent crime, sex trafficking, the forced labor, child abuse, and others. The international community values peace and justice and call for stronger judicial system that will enforce laws and work toward a more peaceful and just society. And lastly, the number 17 is to strengthen means of implementation. So in goal number 17, it includes to assure that countries and organizations cooperate instead of competition. So, ayan. So nilalayon na mag-cooperate instead na mag-compete with each other. So dito, kailangan ma-develop yung partnerships with the stakeholders to share their knowledge, expertise, technology, and financial support as critical to overall success of SDGs. Ayan. So, itong implementation ng SDG 1 to SDG 17, so magagawa daw natin kung mas may strengthen natin yung implementation nito by having a partnership with different stakeholders. Okay? So, that's the SDG, SDG 1 to 17. Okay? And before magkaroon tayo ng SDG, nauna muna na magkaroon tayo ng MDG, o yung tinatawag nating Millennium Development Goals. So kung ang SDG ay merong 17, ang MDG, ilan naman ang MDG natin? At kailan ito tinarget? Anong year? Kung ang SDG ay 2030 target, ang MDG ay anong year naman? Anyone po from the group na may idea? Narinig niyo na po ba yung MDG? Millennium Development Goals? Or baka may mga idea po kayo? Naririnig po ako.
Network Development Group po. Hindi ko sure.
Ano po? Yes po.
Network Development Group po.
Hindi ko masyadong maintindihan po. Ilan po ang ating Millennium Development Goals?
8 po. 8
So, there
millennium
are 8.
development goals.
Okay, thank you. At ito ay tinarget natin year 20. Kung 2030 ang SDG, ang MDG ay 20. Any idea?
15.
Yes, 2015. Ayan. So, silipin natin ang ilan sa mga MDG, yung 8. So, sabi nga ito ay 8 MDGs. So, number 1, ayan. So, number 1 is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. So, kung tingnan natin, medyo nakaangkla pa rin sa SDG, pero mas pinarami kasi yung goals ng SDG at more on dinagdagan nila ng environmental sustainability. So, dito kasi sa MDG, wala pang environmental sustainability. So, for goal number 1 is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Okay? So, reduce by half proportion of people living on less than $1 a day. For goal number 2, so to achieve universal primary education. This meron siyang target 2 and 3 to reduce by half of the proportion of people who suffer from hunger. And the target number 3 is to ensure that all boys and girls complete adult course of primary school. And goal number 3, mali lang po yung pagka-type. So this is to promote gender equality and empower women. So the target number 4 is to eliminate gender disparity in primary and secondary education, preferably by 2005 and at all levels by 2015. Okay. Okay. So number 4 is to reduce child mortality. Okay. So the target for this is to reduce 2/3 the mortality rate among children under 5. For goal number 5 is to improve maternal health. Ayan, to reduce by 3/4 the maternal mortality ratio. And goal number 6 is to combat HIV/AIDS. Ayan. And there are 2 targets, halt and begin to reverse the spread of HIV/AIDS and halt and begin to reverse the incidence of malaria and other major diseases. For goal number 7, ayan, so dito, meron din naman siyang kasamang environmental sustainability, pero hindi pa siya nakaspecify kumpara sa land, oceans, ayan, etc. So, under goal 7, meron siyang 9, 10, and 11 target. So, this is to integrate the principles of sustainable development into country policies, programs, reverse the loss of environmental resources. Target number 10, reduce by half the proportion of people without sustainable access to safe drinking water. And target number 11 is to achieve significant improvement of lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers by 2020. And then, lastly, the goal number 8 is to achieve global partnership for development. Okay? So, as compared doon sa SDG, mas naging specific na yung mga goals natin when it comes to environmental sustainability. Okay? And itong MDG na tinatawag natin, ay dito rin inangkla yung isa sa programa ng ating government, yung Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. Ayan. So, ang tinutugunan ng Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program ay yung goal number 1 hanggang goal number 5. Ayan. So, yung ating eradicate extreme poverty, yung pagkakaroon ng primary education, gender equality and empowerment, and yung reduce child mortality and improve maternal health. So, dito ipinaturn yung programa ng Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program when it comes to achieving the goals of the program. Okay. So, that's it for SDG and the MDG.